No letter grades for the first semester of freshman year. That is a new University of Michigan plan that is prompting a lot of debate over the usefulness and impact of grades. So here is how it will work. Starting next fall, students going into the university's College of Literature, Science, and Arts will receive pass or no credit marks on their first semester transcripts. Their actual grades will be kept internally. The university says it's an effort to curb the mental health crisis among college-age students by taking some of the pressure off first-year students as they transition to college. So joining me now is Abbie Everett, the Senior Director of Teaching and Learning at KnowledgeWorks. So let's talk about this. What is your take on this new plan?
Hi, thanks for having me. You know, we talk a lot about grading at KnowledgeWorks, and one of the things that we're seeing a trend over is districts, organizations, universities questioning what is the purpose of grades and who are they for? And so there's this shift of the currency of grades. Why not there be a shift from the currency of grading to the currency of knowledge and skills? It's that cultural piece that we bring into the grading system. And so really is our grading system and our practices aligned to the vision and mission we have for our learners?
So what are some of the alternatives to letter grades, and are they effective?
Yeah, if you step back a second and think about letter grades, and if you think about a GPA, a grade point average, we all know what that means, we think, but if you really break it down, what is a GPA? In a classroom, we use a 100-point system often, and it's between 50 and 100 that we grade on a 100-point system. Then we average those grades and then turn them into letter grades. And then we take those letter grades and turn them into number grades again in a 4-point system. And so if you think about why we do what we do, sometimes it doesn't make sense when we unpack it. And so what we're seeing is this idea of districts kind of reconsidering that and saying, how might we reduce things like averaging? What does the average tell us? Really thinking about what's the most recent evidence of learning or demonstration of learning versus was it their first attempt, second attempt, third attempt? And how do we reconcile that for how we communicate what the learning is to the stakeholders?
Yeah, it makes sense. Boy, we've used old school grading for so long. So a majority of U.S. schools have used the letter grades, and as I was saying, for decades. Do you expect more schools to move away from grades? And how would that work within the larger education system like college admissions?
Yeah, and it's funny, right? Because a lot of our college admissions drive what we do in K-12. And so it's really coming together to think about how do we work together. I used to be a high school counselor, and I worked for a district that changed our grading system. And so our transcripts just look a little bit different in how we reported grades. And so when we would have a learner who moved to another district out of our district, we would actually send them a report of here's all the learning targets that they've mastered. It was pretty detailed so they could see exactly what they knew, what they didn't know yet. And often that school that they were going to that didn't use an innovative grading system would call us and say, okay, we don't need to know that. What's their letter grade? And so how do we work together to change the currency and really thinking about what are those grades for and what is the story of learning that we want to tell?
Yeah, I'm even trying to factor it in other ways, like the number on the scale. What does that mean? And is that really the actual number, or is it based on I'm going a whole different route, but I'm just saying rethinking numbers and grades and all of that we've been using for so long. So
We
thanks.
think
Yeah.
we understand them, but what does that C mean from one classroom to the next, right?
Yeah, absolutely. All right, Abbie Everett. Abbie, thank you.
Thank you.